Hey, what's going on? My name is Mick, and I'm posting my day trading journey here on YouTube with complete transparency and honesty. And I took two trades today, and I finished at $125 in the green. Nothing flashy, they were really just two scalps. One was more of a planned trade, and I ended up getting out a little too soon just because of fear. And the second trade was more of an intraday, things were happening, and I saw volume pick up, and I hopped in on another scalp. So we'll go over those two today. The first one I just made $12.50. Really, really small trade. And this is where things got interesting. So first of all, today in the beginning of the day kind of looked really similar to what it did yesterday for the most part. A lot of buying pressure right off of the open, and we had a small pullback about mid-morning, and then the rest of the day we kept going up and started to see a little bit of that, right? Buying right off of the open, small pullback, and then continuing moving up. So overall, kind of a similar move as yesterday, but overnight we had a pretty big sell-off. So from the very beginning, we opened up today near this overnight low of 41.43, and so I was also playing the gap rules today. So I saw this bounce here, and I was waiting for some sort of double bottom down here to play long. Ended up not playing any gap fills today. Once we got to this level, things felt like they kind of slowed down a little bit, and I didn't take my first trade until about 12:40, which was right here. Excuse me. And we had this small pullback here, so we definitely were hitting, definitely some resistance here at 41.64, 65. And on this pullback, I ended up getting long in here, and I felt pretty comfortable because the entire time, yesterday and today, all of these little pullbacks kept getting bought up. And, this pullback got bought up, this pullback got bought up, this one got bought up, the ones from yesterday all got bought up. So this was a pretty minor pullback, but I was still pretty confident in the overall trend so far in that day. So I hopped in long, set my stop at 41.60, and my target was 41.70, which I had it as this like little 4-hour downtrend line here. I got out real quick. There was a little bit of stalling right about here, and I didn't just stick with my trade. Obviously, in hindsight, should have. I wouldn't have gotten stopped out. Would have been a pretty decent trade. I think I had like a 3.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. So I felt good about that, about planning that trade, but the actual execution and trade management was pretty poor. And then once we got up here, I had been keeping an eye on this 4-hour downtrend for quite some time. Let me go to 4-hour time frame here. So on a much larger scale, this is the 4-hour trend line that I have been keeping an eye on, and it's had a couple of pretty significant reactions. Here it had a couple of reactions, and then here also it's had a couple of reactions. So we had this first initial reaction a couple of Tuesdays ago. This reaction here, it acted as support on this day, support on this day. And so that was a pretty important one. And then I drew kind of a smaller one on the 4-hour time frame here, which is where this one came into play. And let me do on the 5-minute here. And this is where I should have done this. So I made this trend line prior to the open today, and I had two reactions when I drew it, because I drew it yesterday after hours, and I guess I didn't have enough faith in this trend line here because today it played perfectly. And maybe not off of the first touch here, but off of this second touch. And that's what leads me into my second trade, which I made, what did I make? About $112. Yeah, about $112. This was another scalp. This was a lot less planned, which I entered probably on this candle right here. Let me get the exact candle. And I just played a quick scalp on this one moving down. In hindsight, obviously would have been fantastic to hold, but I've been on a losing streak lately, so really just taking my profits when I'm in the green and really not holding for too long is has been kind of the key here. So let's see. So here is the initial reaction off of the trend line. And so I got in relatively early. There was a lot of selling pressure right off the bat here. Once we had broken this, I guess, neckline, if you want to call it, because this kind of looks like a head and shoulders here. Once we broke this neckline right here, I felt pretty confident because we still kept selling, and I waited for a small pullback and then confirmation when it started picking up again, and I got in a little too late. And then this consolidation right here, this is what really bothered me. I thought we were just going to keep selling off. I was being a little too picky. I wanted my cake and I wanted to eat it too, which was kind of unfortunate. It was going a little too slow for my liking. And looking back on the end of the day, just seeing this, it just fell off a cliff here. So it is what it is. I'll take $100 any day instead of, uncertainty. So I'm just going to try to get back on my feet, try to make a couple of decent trades, get my profits, get in, get out, make up for the past couple of weeks that I've really been struggling, and, hoping to get on a roll here, start getting trading a little bit better, and see what can happen. But that's all I got for you today. Peace.